Hey guys, it's Jeff here. Um, there's a whole bunch of narrations out there, and we all have our favorite stories, and this has got to be one of my favorite of all time stories. Um, Probably because it's just funny as hell, and I'm gonna attempt to try to narrate it tonight, and I hope you guys like it as much as I do. So, with that, enjoy. It's called A Guy and His Dog Just Saved Me from a Goddamn Witch and Her Wendigo. Holy shit, where do I even start? Penny's dead, and Goat, shit, they're all dead except me. All because I had to piss. What the fuck, man? We were out camping near Breck. Thought we'd get one in before the snow settles over Colorado tomorrow. It was Goat's idea. He wanted to celebrate something. I can't even remember what it was at this point, and we all agreed it'd be fun. Something to tell stories about later. I fucking hate that we were halfway right. We hiked up with a bunch of gear and food and beer, and everything was great for the first few hours. But as soon as the sun went down and the darkness enveloped the mountains, things started to get fucking fucked. First, we thought we were just too wasted hearing things, and we all silently agreed to ignore it, pretending that everything was fine. But it finally got to the point where we just couldn't pretend anymore, and decided it would be better if we just left then and there. So we began packing up, but I had to piss, and I said so before walking off into the darkness behind the trees. Pretending not to hear the noises echoing around the peaks, the mixture of laughter and screaming, and the weird, piercingly high howling sound, like the wind knifing through needles of the pines. That piss saved my life. I had just shaken off when I heard him. Sounded like Petey saying, "Who the fuck are you?" And then more insistent voice. Maybe Jones or Goat. "Lady, are you deaf?" Then a concerned voice, Tim's. "I think she might be hurt. Hey, are you okay?" Silence for a moment, and then someone shouted. And I couldn't identify the next voice I heard. "Hello, goodbye. Hello, goodbye, goodbye." Confused, I peeked around the trunk of the tree, half expecting to see something fucked, and I did. There was an old woman standing near the edge of the firelight. She was wearing a yellowish rag. Her hair hung lank and limp around her parlor face. Her face, it was disturbing. She was grinning from literally ear to ear, and her eyes were fully deeply black. She looked like a fucking witch, an actual demonic being of the night. She laughed and then said, "Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye." Tim, Jones, and Petey were the first to go. They just burnt up. Burnt right up in flames, 7 feet high. Their screams were ungodly. I've never heard anything like it before, and hope to never again. And the smell was fucking nauseating. I saw their skin bubble and slough off their bones, and huge swaths of sinew and meat. The fire was so hot that all their blood just evaporated away with a sinister hiss. When the flames finally died down, 3 unrecognizable burnt bodies fell, shattering into ashes that blew away in the wind. Benny and Goat turned to run, and they almost made it too. But she pointed to them, and suddenly they stopped, freezing in place, their mouths open, too fucking wide, their tongues lolling out. Somehow, someway, she had stunned them. Just by pointing, she cackled. It was gross, and looked over her shoulder. Out of the slits between the trees, a hulking mass walked forward. It looked like the love child of Andre the Giant and a hellish elk. For a moment, nothing happened, and then chaos. The antler man ran forward towards Benny and Goat, snorting and screaming. He got to Benny first, impaling him on one of the prong and lifting him high into the air. Benny slid down slow. His mouth was open, but there was no sound. Only a red-tinted thread of drool. Antler Man swung his head to the left, and Benny flew off, hitting a nearby tree with a hard crunch. But he wasn't dead yet. I saw him crawl forward, a stream of his guts trailing out behind him, steaming in the night air. Antler Man took 3 steps forward and stopped right next to Benny's head, lifted a hooved foot and smashed it down and down and down, crushing his skull, stirring the brain matter up. And when Antler Man finally turned around, all that was left of Benny's face was a bloody pulp in one eye, perfect, unharmed, blue iris staring blankly up at the stars. Goat was next. He couldn't move, and I could see his eyes rolling around and around, wild with fear, trying to see if there was a way out. And then he stopped right on me, and I knew he saw me, hiding and watching. I moved back a bit behind the tree, peeking out, cringing as Antler Man took hold of Goat's arms, pulling and not stopping. I heard one resoundingly pop, then another, Goat's arms dislocating. But Antler Man kept pulling and pulling, and I couldn't tear my eyes away. I saw Goat's arms ripped right off his body, right fucking clean off. But he couldn't move. He just stood there like some sick phallus, blood pulsing through both holes. Antler Man cocked his left arm right and sucker punched Goat right in the face, breaking his nose, sending him reeling backwards, and before he even hit the ground, I could see that he was dead. Job done. Antler Man turned back towards the witch, and she shook her head, saying words that nearly made me shit my pants. There's one more, hiding over there, watching. I think he's enjoying himself. Oh, what the hell? I shat myself. Why lie? I froze for a moment, unable to fight or flee. And then there was a noise, mechanical, recognizable, and a guy wearing a goddamn ridiculous as shit mask bursts through the trees on a fucking Ducati, headlights blaring, engines roaring. He came out of literally fucking nowhere. I blinked, ready to jump up, ready to run. But before I could, something soared over me. Something big, 4-legged, a dog. A huge goddamn dog. There was a booming noise, and I realized the gas mask was firing a shotgun, while the dog beside him barked. The blasts from the shots were amazingly bright and lit up the entire area with a severe fluorescent-like glow. Suddenly, the dog shot off, running low to the ground, straight towards Antler Man, leaping up, latching onto his arm. Gas Mask reloaded, then swung the shotgun swiftly towards the witch, and fired again, hitting her in the chest 4 times, making her stagger back, screeching. Next to her, the dog was ripping and tearing at Antler Man, pushing him back towards the trees. Off the bike now, Gas Mask slung the shotgun over his back and grabbed a pistol from his belt, firing the whole clip, shouting, "Hocus pocus, that bitch!" And then the witch fled. Antler Man immediately followed. The dog charged after them, baying loudly. I heard a loud, horrific bugle, like an elk dying, and something large crashing to the ground. Gas Mask whistled, and after a few seconds, the dog burst through the bush, panting, covered in blood and guts. It looked like he was grinning. It trotted up to the man, and he leaned forward, patting it on the head once, twice, and I heard him mumble, "Good girl." I said, and Gas Mask looked up at me, like he forgot I was there. "Oh," he said. "Yeah, shit, you better run." Behind me I heard the witch's laughter boil up again, weaker, wavering. The dog growled, crouching low, hackles high. The man ran, pulling some shells from his pocket, reloading and cocked his shotgun, then repeated, "Run, we'll take care of this." And I did. I ran, and I fucking ran. Made it back to the car. Heard the shotgun firing behind me and screaming and howling. No laughter, though. Currently on my way to report this. I hope to hell they believe me. But I don't even know if I fucking believe what happened. That guy, that dog, that motherfucking witch bitch, and the deer dude. What the fuck just happened?